Good Tuesday morning, everybody. You're watching Finance and Technology Insights with Brian and Eric. I'm your co-host Eric Buhrendorf. Along with me, I have my co-host Brian Williams. How's it going, Brian?
It's going pretty well. How about you?
I'm trapped in a series of self-inflicted wounds.
Oh, okay. Business,
That's
personal, or what?
Huh?
Business, personal, or all the above?
Well, yeah, a little bit of everything, but no, we'll get into it. But let me just bring us in. So we're episode 20. Congratulations! Yay! If I had a whole soundboard, we would cue the applause and the confetti. We're episode 20. This is a podcast talk show Brian and I do, talking about finance and technology as it suits us and entertains us. We have it starts with YouTube. We don't have a personalized link yet, so follow that in the description. Brian cuts the audio and uploads it to Anchor, which syndicates that to your favorite podcast. And we do have a Facebook page that we contribute to some of the community. And we will soon be doing a website. And I think we even registered the common social channels.
Oh, you did?
So we're starting to take this little project seriously. It's starting to feel pretty good. What do you think?
It feels pretty good. Yeah, I enjoy it. I always think of, I'm a big Seinfeld fan. That's probably come out a couple times on the episodes. But one of the interviews I saw with them is they said, well, we just kind of started making the show for us, and we thought it was funny and we'd enjoy it, and we thought it would go a couple years, and then it kind of took off. And so I always kind of think about that with projects like these. We're just kind of doing it for ourselves, and when the audience catches on, they'll catch on. But as long as we enjoy doing it, I guess that's all that matters, right?
Totally. I could not have hoped that I could only have hoped that this would have become what it is. When I first thought of this is exactly what I wanted to do. Unscripted, meet with a friend, on some recurrence, and just freeball it, just talk about whatever we want to talk about. Still, I can't believe you were I didn't know you from Adam. I saw one of your videos you put out, and I said, and I just came off a failed relationship in the previous podcast, version of the show. And it's actually funny. Ellie in Space, if you find her YouTube channel, I reached out to her and we did a couple episodes. And just as we did a couple episodes, her YouTube channel started taking off. And in fact, this week she just sent out on social that she just quit her job. So
wow.
she's a full-time YouTuber. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I feel I feel bad that we didn't. What's the saying? When one opportunity closes, when one door closes, another one opens. So
yeah. That's especially true here because I've got all the windows open in the house. So it plays games with all the doors, and all day there's random doors slamming shut and opening. So that certainly holds true here. But yeah, actually, I followed her channel early on when we started talking, so her stuff pops up. So
oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's funny. I see her stuff. So yeah, nope. So we normally start off talking about just what's happening, I guess, in our personal lives or so. And then as we get into what's happening in our respective businesses, we have some fun little videos, which Eric hasn't seen yet. They're designed to be semi-ironic and total cheese. So we'll have some fun with them and get Eric's first reaction to those. But
so the idea is we're going to try to maybe make some segments to the show, right?
Yeah. And then eventually we'll maybe be able to slice those up and put them out on our respective channels and drip them out during the week. So, if we go do the full show on Tuesday, and then maybe I take a certain segment, drop it on Thursday, maybe you do one, drop it on Friday, and I don't know, do something maybe over the weekend, and then we're back at it again. So
can't wait to see him. Can't wait to see him. So what's going on personally last week?
So last week, over the weekend, we went up to my mother's house. So she's right on the southern Adirondack. So it takes us about 3 hours to get there. So luckily my wife was able to take a half day on Friday, which makes a big difference. If we can, leave here by 1, we get up there 4, a little bit after, then you feel like you can actually do something in the evening. Whereas, she's a teacher. So, if she gets out around 3:30, then you get up there, 6:37, you're kind of kind of shop by then. So so it's nice to be able to kind of do a half day and get up there. But yeah, then just doing some projects around my mother's house. She turned 80 this year, and she's still in the house that I was born in. So she's got a lot of work to do there. So
She's an
uh,
octogenarian.
she is. She is. Yeah. She's
That's
an
cool.
octogenarian. So yeah, that was pretty much our weekend. And my son did obviously through COVID and stuff, he just turned 4. He hasn't had a lot of like out of the house time. So he did do one sleepover at my mother's probably maybe around the holiday time, and then he stayed over Friday and Saturday over the weekend. So that was kind of a big deal. So we're starting to get him out, and actually we have a wedding to go to this weekend, so he's going to do another sleepover at a friend of mine. So
Ooh, these are big. This
yeah.
is a big milestone for you, right?
Yeah, so it's pretty good. Yeah, it's my wife did pretty well with it because she's, a little bit more concerned. And for me, it was, my mother and the house that I grew up in. So I have a different level of comfort than she probably does. But but it's good. They keep an eye on each other. We tell Luke he's got to babysit my mother, his grandma, and it all works out. So
Cool.
that was our weekend.
Cool. For me, so we joined when we moved here to West Hartford. There's a I don't know how to describe it. I guess it's like a nature park, pond, whatever it's called, winding trails. And when we moved to town, everybody just talked about winding trails. It's where everybody was over the summers and then the weekends and things. So everybody's like, yeah, check out winding trails. So we checked it out online. It looks like a pretty exclusive nature club, I guess, with a swimming pond and basketball courts and things like that. So we put our name in blind without even seeing the facility, and it was a 5-year wait
Wow.
to get in. So we got our welcome letter in January, and then we did drive through the facility in February, March, when it was still cold and wintry, and it's pretty nice. It's really
Mhm.
nice, and it's fairly affordable. It's like I want to say less than $700 a month. Sorry, $700 a year.
Mm.
So yeah, the summer, we're in Hartford, Connecticut area. So the weekend was in the 90s.
Mhm.
So we took the girls to winding trails and did the whole kind of beach lake thing. It was awesome, just perfect. We're gonna have so much fun. And I kept making the joke like it really saved me $100,000 because we have a really big backyard, and I've over the last 5 years or 6 years, I've been clearing it and planting grass. So it's really a blank canvas, and it really looks like it should receive a nice in-ground pool. And my wife really does not want one. So anyways, this winding trails thing just saved me about $100,000, I think.
Yeah,
So
that's really good.
that's what we did this weekend.
Yeah, and they have a lot of activities and stuff through the winter too. I know they have a lot of cross country skiing and stuff, so it's not just a summer facility. So that's pretty good. We had a little what I call an air conditioning check this weekend. We went from 70s to 90s for a couple days, and then back down to 70s. So just that little test to make sure everything's working right.
Yeah, and actually I turned it on. Well, we had a hot day, I don't know, maybe a few weeks ago, 3, 4
Hmm.
weeks ago, and I turned ours on, which is new, 1 year old new,
Okay.
and it wasn't working. So I had to
Mm.
call for service. Sounded like the guy he even literally said, "Yeah, just something was stuck. I just tapped it with the wrench and it opened the valve right up." I
That's
was like,
great.
"This is a brand new central air system." He's like, "Yeah, it's under plenty of warranty, so if it fails, we'll replace it. If it's gonna fail, we'll replace it."
Yeah, knocking the cobwebs out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was our weekends personally. How about
Mhm.
professionally? How was your last
Well,
work
let's
week?
start with you and let's find out what's happening in your world.
That is so fun. So did you make one for each of us?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
funny. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll have to then I'll cue you when I'm done.
Yeah.
Um so what's happening? So you ever go through the hiring process for an employee and then just find your way down a 10-hour rat hole of
Mm.
designing and building a corporate signature? No, nobody I
No.
know.
No.
So there's a lot of meat on this bone, so I'll try to be quick. Microsoft does not have a real nice mechanism to, or when I say Microsoft Exchange, if you're an Exchange, back in the day, if you had an Exchange server in your office, or when you an Exchange server in the cloud, or now everybody's on Microsoft 365, formerly Office 365, having Microsoft host your Exchange in that ecosystem. Either way, across their entire product line, there is no corporate email signature manager. And in fact, we've had clients ask on this, and we had a big law firm in Cheshire ask about this and hire us to try to find some solution. But there just hasn't been in the past a really nice corporate email signature manager. I mean, it seems so simple and fundamental. You would think that there would be some central global admin panel where you can configure, because everybody, the system knows your first name, last name, your department, your phone. It has all that basic information. So you would think that they would have a kind of a UI or a user interface where an administrator can go in and build a corporate email signature. They don't. It's really kind of pathetic. So you have to go to the secondary market or independent software vendors, and I've looked at them over the years, and they just looked a little hokey, to say the least. But while I was working on onboarding a new employee or a new resource, he's actually a subcontractor, but a new resource for the company, I don't know if it was an ad or if it was just if I just willed myself to look into it, but I just started looking at corporate emails, signature managers, and just kind of start pulling on this thread. So that was about 4:00 yesterday afternoon, and I worked until midnight on it. And then I woke up this morning at 6 a.m. and then I worked on it all morning with my team. And it's one of those things. It's developmental for the company. You know what I mean? So it's like, there's a bit of research and testing and qualifying. Is it going to meet our needs? What are our needs? That sort of thing. So while dealing with some HR stuff, I'm dealing with this operational stuff. And then it's like, I just sometimes feel like, how do I find myself in these moments? You know what I mean? And,
Yeah.
So that's been my life. And then I just try to quantify it, that I'm like, okay, well, let me just put this in perspective. I'm wearing hats here. I'm wearing the CEO hat, the COO hat, the chief marketing or sales executive hat. So I'm wearing all these hats, and I have all of these initiatives that I'm trying to do, and we are kind of getting to them. But today's one of those days. It's actually been one of those weeks where I'm like, man, like I feel like Link in the Legend of Zelda, where it's like you can see the castle. I don't know. Did I say that? Use this metaphor already? Like you could see the
I don't think so.
castle, but like my whole life is like, oh well, you got to go get your sword, and then you're like, that's a side quest that takes you half a day, and then you're like, well, now I got to get a shield. You can't enter the thing. You got to get it. So then you go in another half a day to get your shield, and then you know what I mean. It's like I feel like my life is full of side quests when I just want to go to the castle.
Right. It's like when you're doing a road trip and you're in a city you don't know, and you can see where you want to go, like you're going to a ballpark or something. And you're like, it's right there, but I can't get there.
Where's
You're like, well,
yeah.
that's an interesting project, and it's weird Microsoft doesn't have a solution for that. But
it's pretty frustrating, actually, because it's not an uncommon request. It's almost like you would think that it's there. But anyways, I think I found a product that might work. But the other challenge too is we send email out, believe it or not, from multiple platforms. Well, you will believe it, from multiple platforms, right? So not only do we send email out from our Outlook and our email clients, we send email out from our ticketing management, ticketing software, from our marketing software. I feel like there's a third one. Our billing platform. So we're sending emails out representing us from 4 different platforms.
Right.
So trying to build an email signature and then adapt it across these platforms all have their own unique challenges. And the first, you build it in HTML thinking that you can just copy and paste it across all the platforms, but it's not always that simple.
Yeah. Yeah. We've had that similar issue here. There's certain disclosures and stuff you'd like to just have automatically put at the bottom of every email. But again, we have a billing system, for subscription based clients and kind of one off stuff. And sometimes we send emails through the CRM and sometimes it's replying. So it's, I would think financial firms, legal firms, at a bare minimum, even if it wasn't a signature per se, just that disclosure language, just to make sure it goes at the bottom of every email, would be important.
Right. So we to aid in our management of all these systems, we use an internal knowledge base software.
Hmm.
So we literally have a document that says this is how you manage the company's signature, and it
Hmm.
helps remind that process every time. So
Yeah.
that's my excitement. Let me see. Do I do this now? What's new?
Oh, that's good. That's fun. I like that. What's happening in my business? Um, yeah, continuation of a lot of the same stuff. It's a little bit of marketing around the state mandate that's coming out, and there just seems to be a wave of information and sometimes misinformation. So the state is putting out a lot of calls on that. They're doing a lot of webinars, Better Business Bureau and AARP. They're putting a lot of stuff together on that. And then I guess the budget passed for the state, and there was just a couple paragraphs in there that really changed the phrasing of the state's program. They went from, I'll probably screw this up, but they went from having a governing authority board to a governing advisory board.
Hmm.
And from what I understand in the government, that's a big difference. So there's some questions as to who's actually going to be running this program and the future of this program. Meanwhile, they've done kind of this soft rollout, so they're starting to accept some businesses into it and all that kind of stuff. So just answering questions around that and some misinformation. I get uh, business owners calling me saying, I got to do this right now because of the mandate. And it's like, well, you should do it now, but it's not a requirement for businesses of your size yet. So, and I think I messaged you during the week, imagine if the state rolled out mandatory cybersecurity training for all employees, came out with their own version of the program, which was average at best, and then made all the employees pay for it. Like, what a crazy scenario that would be. But that's essentially what they've done here with this program. So, the state program, not going to beat up on it too much, but it's just a standard IRA type of payroll deduction program. So that's been a hot topic yesterday. And it was funny. I visited a client yesterday to enroll a new employee that she just hired, and she was almost like more excited about it than I was. She's like, well, this is going to be huge for your business because everybody's going to have a 401k, and they're not going to want to be in the state program. It's like, so what are you doing? Are you just driving around? Are you going door to door? You got to have something that people can sign up on. Like, she was like going nuts about it because she's
Do,
been a long time
do you have like
client
a
of
big
mine. So
shovel to just scoop all that business
yeah,
into?
exactly. Exactly. But so she's in like a little strip mall type plaza thing. And she's like, yeah, I mean, the deli over here and the kickboxing gym over here, and like all these businesses are gonna have to have a program. I'm like, yeah, I know. So the problem is most of them are gonna wait until the last minute, and
Of
most of
course.
them are and the way the state's marketing it is they say it's free to businesses, but it just means the employees pay the fees, which is kind of a weird way to market it, I guess, in a way, because the business owner is going to be buying it but not paying for it. So it's sort of a weird sort of scenario there, which I think will help them get traction, but it may not necessarily be the right way to do it or where people in the industry would do it. But so that's been a hot topic, and we always talk about our software reviews and things like that. So I did another one this week that's good, that's getting there, that's better. It's funny. She's like, you reviewed this like 2 years ago. I'm like, yeah, but your software is totally different now. It's
Wow, really?
yeah. And so actually two pieces. One was more of a prospecting and one was sort of a CRM. And they're kind of getting to that point where it's all one. And again, I asked them, well, can you bill out of this? And they can bill a certain way, but not the other way. So I'd still have to have this other piece of software that I use. I feel like they're getting a little bit closer, but they're not all there yet where you could have that one piece that's CRM, prospecting, and billing and then also maybe some portfolio management or whatever, but they're getting there. And I did this trial for this prospecting software, and they gave me a trial, but it's more very data centric, and they're, you know, they want to protect their data for obvious reasons. So they gave me a free trial, but I have access to Alaskan 401k data, which is kind of funny. So I can play around and run queries on the 1,517 401k plans in Alaska. So if I want to move there or prospect there, I'm all set. But
Right.
yeah, so it's those constant battles. And it's interesting. I'm part of this group of advisors that is on Facebook, and one of the things they always complain about is they get these calls from vendors, and how do they? And then as you'll see the same people 2 weeks later. Hey, does anybody know a software that does this? Or I'm trying to do this with the software I always have. So I look at those calls and those research not as much for me as for the client. You kind of owe it to your clients to run your business as efficiently as possible, because if you're spending time on tasks that aren't client focused, you're pulling away from your service. So I sort of even on my calendar, I have Friday afternoons blocked out, and if somebody calls me during the week and they want to pitch a software or something, I'll say, go on my calendar, here's a specific link, and they can book that time on a Friday afternoon. So which during the summer is a little bit lighter. So that's always the way I kind of look at it. I like learning about the different software and stuff that's out there anyway. But the other factor is, I owe it to my clients to be efficient. So I try to take and make those calls when I can.
Yeah, I mean, business development, right? I mean, it's
Mhm.
it. You gotta. I was talking to my business manager, office manager yesterday about this. Like, you have to. We at least we build in almost 10% of process administration in all of our work, or like work administration,
Mhm.
because everything we do is we've codified nearly everything that we do in the business, and it all sits in front of a checklist. So we use a ticketing system to do internal tasks and client related tasks, and whenever the task can be codified, if it's a recurring task or whatever, we've codified that in a process, and the system lets us put that in a checklist. So you just go through the checklist, boom, 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 boom. I mean, running a service business is the hardest type of business to run with a high degree of accuracy and quality. And the only way that you can do that is, in my opinion, and do it well, is with codified processes. But you have to build in. So, like, we're a service delivery company, right? So we provide our service, and that is what we're doing for our clients. But you have to build in 10% time to document your work product. So there's admin time, and that's not a new concept, but you got to do it. You got to do it. You got to record your time entry, and that's what the staff have to do and things. But then you really have to have like another 5 to 10% of your time in the process review. So while you're working and using a process, you actually have to be auditing the process.
Mhm.
And it's such a culture thing. It's hard to get yourself into it. I do it almost obsessively now. My employees benefit from the work that I do in that regard, and I keep asking them to partner with me in working with to audit the process that they're using. When I see them check a checklist that is no longer relevant, 100 times, and I come up on, I'm like, why didn't you just tell me that this item is no longer relevant?
Yeah.
So, but that's the COO hat, and
Mhm.
the 8 hours or 10 hours or 12 hours or 15-hour work days, there's only so much time in the day to divvy up all of these roles. I mean, it's, you and I talk a lot about the CRM software, for example.
Mhm.
Like, I was telling you last week, or I was suggesting last week, have you thought about more division to your outbound communications? Like,
Mhm.
did you come up with current clients at least, and leads or prospects?
Yeah, that's always been a second separate section. So we talked about a couple different things. So I'll send current clients one thing, prospects another, and then I have a different group of professional groups. So folks in the payroll industry, folks accounting. So those are a couple different groups that I work with. Where I don't have it segmented is that next level, like the different types of emails a client might receive. And I'm still not sure if I'll go there yet, but the idea being, if they unsubscribed from let me unsubscribe from market updates, but I still want to be subscribed to personal finance tips or something like that.
Right.
I haven't
Tips,
gone there yet.
newsletter, product updates.
Yeah, and my thought process has always been, well, let me think of it like the funnel. If they just read the first thing on the email, that's fine. It doesn't take any more time to, I'd rather make the email longer so that they're not missing out on something. And if they don't read it, that's fine. So I don't want to get segmented too much and have somebody miss out on something. So it's just kind of like send all my clients everything they might be interested in. And if they don't read it, they don't read it, but just make the most important stuff at the top. So yeah, that's an ongoing process and we'll see where that goes. But certain clients, one thing I do have to do is ones that are a little bit more local as we ramp up our, in-person meetings. I want to make sure that they're getting that. Whereas somebody in Maryland, I'm not going to invite them to something at the Southington Holiday Inn, that
Right.
kind of stuff. So,
Right.
so that's that next level of segmentation. It's probably geographical.
Yep, that's one of my projects. I did a lot of work on creating my segments because I never wanted my current customers to get non-marketing content for non-customers. So yeah, it's a lot of projects out there, a lot of projects, right?
Yep, it's good. Yeah, ideas are easy, right? But the time and the execution are
The
the hard
execution.
part. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, before we get go any further, if you are still watching, give us a thumbs up on this video and subscribe if you haven't already.
Yeah, let us know what you think of our new transitions into what's happening in our respective businesses.
After every recording, I sit and I see later in the night or something the video post to YouTube, and I'm like, damn, I forgot to ask for a subscribe and a like. So
Yeah, yeah.
subscribe
We'll
and
have
like.
to add that into our a couple of weeks ago we added that lower third that kind of scrolls through. So maybe we'll put a third section on there.
Yeah.
That kind of flips through to remind people to hit that thumbs up and comment and all that good stuff.
So what do you say? You want to take it to the news?
Yeah, let's do it.
That's
You
so
love it.
funny. I do love it. I love it. So just to remind everybody, we do have, let's see, this is our YouTube channel up on the screen. We need, what do we need? 1,000 followers, I think, before we can get a custom URL. So
I
we
think
don't
it's
have,
100 actually.
oh,
Yeah.
that's it.
Hmm.
Oh, okay. So give us a subscribe. Here are the videos. And what Brian and I do is we have a YouTube. No, that's my company page. There it is, right there. Here's Finance and Technology Insights Facebook page. And Brian, you've been a posting monster. I feel like I'm falling behind a little bit.
Yeah, I post a lot to the group. Well, I've had my own individual group for a while, so I'm kind of in that rhythm of certain things get shared pretty quickly, which is nice. I got a new phone a couple months ago, and it seems like the sharing is a little bit different across different platforms. So you can click to share to Facebook, and then from there it'll actually say to your page or to a group, and then you select the group. So I'm a pretty avid sharer of stuff to the respective groups.
Nice. That's good. I was just seeing real quick if I could view this in a little more kind of and a little more in a format that was a little more presentable in a public venue. I don't know if you guys are all
Yeah, I
seeing
do.
friends of mine or not.
This is the group. What I do is I just hide the side panel and then I bump it up to like 150% or something.
So
So
you're in the group. That's I was.
oh yeah, you're on the page.
Yeah, I was on the page, and I'm not seeing.
Yeah, I guess they don't let you hide the sidebar on this, huh?
And here's the group. All right. So the group, I guess, is more presentable.
Yeah, see
Oh,
that
so
one you can hide the sidebar.
yeah. Okay. So that's one use case for that. But we do want to promote the page. So
Yeah.
definitely follow the page. But here's the page. And I haven't been, I haven't been posting the news in the group. So I guess maybe I'll do that. So anyways, that's where, so what Brian and I do, we used to use Flipboard. We're not using Flipboard anymore to pin news articles we find interesting. Instead, we're pinning them to our Facebook group. So that is what I was trying to utter to you all.
Yeah. And like an idiot, I just noticed on the sidebar probably a few weeks ago that groups are square and pages are a circle. I don't know if you ever noticed that. You probably did. But
I did not notice that.
yeah.
I'm
So if you're
sure.
on your main Facebook page.
Oh, look at that. A subtle cue. What's this promote website do?
To buy ads. Yeah.
Oh, whoops. Okay.
But
All right.
yeah, when you're on your main Facebook page, it has the shortcuts on the side, and groups are square-ish, and regular ones are pages are round.
Nice.
All right. Yeah. So is there anything in the news you want to talk about? We some of the stuff was productive. Some of it's just kind of funny. We had the Vatican is doing NFTs. Did you see that article?
I did see that. I don't see the article, but if you have it, pull it.
Yeah, that was in the group here. That's let's see.
I thought the group post would boil to the top.
Oh, where'd it go? That's not the page.
Oh, the Rivian Ford offloads 188 million in Rivian shares. I thought that was interesting.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
But yeah, do you have the Vatican article?
Yeah.
A little dead air, people. You're seeing how the sausage is made. It's fine.
No, this is good. We're keeping it going here. Yeah, prepares gallery in the metaverse with NFTs. So this is kind of that art model of, we're going to create NFTs, but we're also going to hang them on the wall in a virtual setting. So everybody's getting in the game. I don't know if this is a sign that it's the top or the bubble, but it's kind of interesting that the Vatican would get involved in that.
So does the Vatican have an art gallery, I guess, that I should know about? The Vatican Museum, 800 pieces by 250 artists, per that article there. So what's the most famous piece they have? You have any idea? Like what would everybody know?
I don't know. I mean,
it says
they've
right
got
there, maybe.
some Picasso, some Dali, Michelangelo.
Collection, yeah. Picasso, Chagall, Michelangelo. Okay, so again, I guess my understanding of the way the NFT was, you don't necessarily own, or you can own the exclusive rights to it, but in some cases they multi-license it, right? Like using the baseball cards that you talked about.
Yeah.
How does that work? It's not an exclusive ownership, right? Or it is. They can limit the.
Yeah, they can limit the licensing. So I think with the baseball cards, what they do is they might have like a gold, silver, bronze type version, and maybe the gold is the most exclusive, and maybe there's 200 copies of those, and then it kind of goes.
Yeah, so they're programmatically, I guess, putting the limited quantity, right?
Yeah, and the exhibition is going to be part of the Sensorium Galaxy, which I'm not too familiar with. I guess it's in a beta version according to the article, but maybe that'll have to be something we'll look at another time. But
so the Vatican is going into NFTs. I guess I'm not surprised. I guess maybe I'm surprised. I don't even know anymore. Like I feel like we're entering this generation where the young people, I talk about adults now younger than me as the young people. I'm approaching 40, and there's 20 years of adults underneath me. You know what I mean?
I know.
And I feel like I don't know what they know anymore, and I don't know, people have such a different relationship with technology than I came up. When I came up in technology, we were, every kid had Nintendo, so there was that. But the kids who made Nintendo their life and career, those became the IT guys and the programmers and things like that. Now, they're programming can be codeless now. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And technology, the technology natives born with a cell phone in the hand. You know what I mean? They could know more about some of these technologies. Like the kids use Snapchat, and I don't know what Snapchat is. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So um, NFTs, I feel like are like that. You know, I feel like I should know first, but I feel like I don't know first. I mean, I'm coming around to it. You know what I mean? But um, I don't know. What do you think?
It is kind of a weird space because at least with the NFTs, I mean, those are, I guess most scenarios, the popular ones at least, are pretty expensive, and so you need a mechanism to be able to purchase those. So it's probably not, your 13-year-old who might have been obsessed with Nintendo or PlayStation is probably not too far into the NFT game, although I could be wrong. But
Baseball cards. I mean,
yeah, maybe if they're
the,
in that, but they
it's
um, still need to do a wallet, and they still need to, all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I
hard
guess
to
we'll find
say.
out.
Um, all right, switching gears off NFTs, I have an article I pinned here. This is something that this is another uh, ageism that I'm going through. Get off my lawn type thing. My wife teases me about. You know, when I was a kid, and when I say kid, teenager, young adult, maybe. You know, I ran with my hair on fire, and I don't know how I made it this far, but now my wife and daughter tease me for being a slow driver.
Mm,
Right, that's where I'm at in life right now, and um, you know, as we talked about, the car manufacturers are coming up with self-driving technology, and Tesla is the one who often grabs the headlines. And Tesla they are beta testing their self-driving technology with their consumer,
mhm,
which is controversial. And so this headline here says Tesla Vision, which is the underlying technology that lets the car see with the Tesla autopilot software. Tesla is increasing the maximum speed up to 85 miles per hour. And I
mm.
just tweeted Elon this week or last week, I think, when I saw this. And you know, I these I guess in short, cars can technically be made not to they can technologically be limited to preventing them from speeding.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I see that your autopilot software you are raising to 85 miles an hour, I don't know, like it seems very I take issue with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's an interesting, the whole speed thing is, I mean, we could have a whole show on that, but the idea that you've got kids in the car, and you are breaking the law if you go over the, and you're kind of teaching them which laws it's acceptable to break and not break. And
It's completely
it's a,
systemic.
yeah, it's just and in some scenarios it's a safety issue. If you're driving the speed limit on a lot of highways, it's unsafe. You got to go with the flow. You got to be part of the deal.
I
But it is sort of weird, when you take it to the extremes, when you're like, all right, I don't know what the maximum speed limit in the country is. I don't know if it's 75 or wherever in some of the Western states, but why would anybody need a car that has a speedometer that goes to 140 or 150? Or it does seem kind of weird that is built in. I mean, I remember in high school we had one of my friends had a car that was a state issued car. It was, kind of like a fleet vehicle. It was this old, I don't know, Reliant or something like that, but it had a governor in it where you couldn't go above 55. That's just the way it was. So his parents kind of liked it because it prevented him from, doing that. So it is very weird, the whole car and the speeding thing, that they allow cars to break the law in that extent. And we
it,
treat speed limits different than we, treat every other law. So interesting
I'm
conversation.
I mean, I've read material from the actual Department of Transportation that says that they anticipate people speeding. It's like it's
Mhm.
built into the
Right.
policy,
Mhm.
you know, and it's I know that it's socially unpopular for all of the free. I'm a freedom fighter too in a lot of ways. Like I hold a lot of libertarian values in a lot of
Mhm.
ways. But one of the values that I hold as a libertarian is trying to be as principled as possible. So
Mhm.
if the principle of the law is it is illegal to speed, then it seems very like a very short lift to say to auto manufacturers like, of course you cannot make your car speed, and certainly not speed in excess of the highest available speed limit. Like you could set in the country a lawful highest available speed limit, and then certainly it would be reasonable to say to the car manufacturers, like, of course you can't make them go 100 miles an hour. I would even be agreeable to, like, even if there was an off-road mode or a track mode that the
Mhm.
consumer can willfully turn on. um, but again, now these cars all have computers and smarts on them that they
Mhm.
know what road they're on. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
of course.
And within
Yeah.
reason, and you can imagine, like, if programming that you can have like even like a low bar to default open. Like even if there was like the car couldn't reasonably detect what road is it, fine, just like default off. But like if you just could capture that low hanging fruit where the car definitely knew what road it was on and definitely knew what the speed limit was, then it seems like a low bridge not too far to just have the policymakers and the regulations and the manufacturers just be like, yeah, of course you can't make it. Every time we get on the highway, and this is where I'm like, this is my age, like get off my lawn is comes in, right? It's is like I don't speed on the speed on the roads. I don't speed on the
Mhm.
highway. If the speed limit is 65 miles an hour, I do 65. One reason technically that makes that easy is because I get in the right lane, set the speed limit, and then I don't have to like manage the car as
Right.
actively. Like I just like a nice easier ride these days. I don't need
Mhm.
to like actively drive. I like to passively drive. I'm a defensive driver, but I this whole like you're getting to where you're going with like in a slight sweat, you know what I mean, or you feel like you've just worked out a little bit, like that's
Right.
because you're actively driving, not passively driving.
Right.
um so when you do the speed limit and you set the cruise control, like you're just not managing that and everybody's just passing you on the left, you know what I mean.
Mhm.
um so it's so weird because I am a freedom fighter in so many ways, but I just feel like it's so unprincipled for us as a people to just
Yeah.
have this simple issue. And every time you see somebody rolled over or like wrecked, it's just I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what the stat is, but it's speed related in so many
Sure.
cases.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you ever look at those numbers, it does grow every 5 miles per hour over 55. It does grow exponentially the number of incidents. But I think the other thing that factors in, excuse me, is just driving is a nicer experience than it used to be. You were driving before to, kind of get where you're going, but now it's like, we joke around with my wife. It's like the most comfortable seats in the house are probably in our Volvo. The best acoustic experience is probably, in our Volvo. We coming back from my mother's this weekend. We discovered a new podcast, which is probably my second favorite one behind this one. But it was called, I think it's called Business Wars or something. So this one was actually, it was kind of funny. They were talking about the the war, as I make the air quotes here for the video folks, the war between Lifetime Channel and Hallmark Channel for the Christmas movie domination thing. And it was like a 5-part series or something, but it was
That's
pretty
funny.
funny. But it's like, we're in the car, my son's asleep, we're comfortable, we've got a good experience. Like, what really is the hurry to get home? What's going to be that much different when we're at home? So I think that factors in too. And of course, as you get into the self-driving experience, if people are doing other things, I mean, do you really care? Like, if you're sitting in your car, in the back seat of your car on your laptop, what's your hurry to get to the office and sit on your laptop?
That
So that's a big factor too. So I think maybe people will be more tolerant of going slower speeds, knowing that it's safer. And just early on, I think as people are in the self-driving thing, I feel more comfortable with a self-driving vehicle going 55 or 65 than I would 85 until I get used to it. So,
Yeah, I mean, a self-driving car who drives like me or you or me, speed limit no faster, unemotional and with no ambition
hmm
to accept to just otherwise stay in the lane and not hit anybody, or you know what I mean. Yeah, I mean, you just proved my point. Like, the car will become one of the most comfortable experiences when the robots take over. Which is
hmm
one of the reasons why I can't wait. We're in this 10, I know we're in this 10-year innovation cycle or something, you know what I mean,
hmm
where in 15 years I know when the girls are young adults and my kids, they're gonna be like, man, I can't believe you guys ever had to pump gas, or I can't believe you had to like drive the car. You had to drive the car. And then their
hmm
kids, I'm absolutely convinced that their kids are going to say like, man, I can't believe you guys used to own your own cars. It's going to be like,
Mm.
it's going to
I
be
thought you
like
were gonna
us.
say flying cars. I can't believe
Or
you guys used to be limited to driving on the
Well, there's
ground.
definitely going to be that, but like the concept of owning a car in 20 years is going to be
Mhm,
like the concept of owning your own um locomotive and caboose, or
mm,
caboose, like owning your own train car. You know what I mean? It's public infrastructure. You know what I
mhm,
mean? So people are going to be like, in 20 and beyond, they're going to be like, I can't believe people used to own their own cars,
mm,
for all the practical reasons, and as
sure.
that I've gotten into so many times. But then there's the safety component. So anyways, a big rant about Tesla. Elon's a freedom fighter. He's a libertarian, and stuff like that. So I know the 20-year-old version of myself would hate me right now. I would be screaming at the screen like, how dare you
Mhm.
take away our freedom of the road and to speed and stuff. And I get it. I get it all. I really do get it. But at the same time, if you want to drive recklessly, go to a track with your car, turn on track mode, and have at it. But there's public infrastructure consideration where we just want to go to where we're going and survive it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Is just kind of
or maybe even better than the speed track. Maybe the experience is so good and you're with your metaverse goggles on, maybe you don't even need the physical experience of going to the track and blowing out a bunch of
right.
tires, you know?
That's true. Yeah, you could. Yeah, you can alternatively not even have to do that. So, um, I don't know. I thought this. I gotta. We gotta wrap this up. But I just thought this one last article with Rivian. I know we're on a big car and EFT track, but
Yeah, NFT, yeah.
Ford invested a lot of money. I think it was like $4 billion in the Rivian electric car startup, and I was surprised to see that they divested 188 million, um, to take a loss, or something. And Rivian's IPO popped, and then it popped up, and then it popped flat, and is suffering from a low. So I don't know. I was a little surprised because I feel like in a lot of ways, Jim Farley, this new CEO of Ford, is doing a lot of cool things and new things that make it a new company. But the folding down gear shifter in the new Lightning and selling 188 million in shares for a loss in Rivian just uh, felt like the opposite of what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, and maybe he sees something coming that that the rest of us don't see. I mean, the cost of materials for EV stuff and the batteries has started to become as big an issue almost as the gas. Um, so I don't know. Maybe he's looking at those forecasts and stuff that we don't necessarily have access to. Um,
Possibly, but that might
yeah,
be insider trading too. No.
yeah,
They
yeah. I guess it
they
could
got to
be.
schedule these. They got to schedule that sale, don't they?
They do. Yep. Yep.
Still, I guess they're you're still allowed to make your investment choices based on the information you have, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought
So
I know we're getting up to sort of 49 minutes. Try to keep it under an hour so we can push it out. But yeah, and the other interesting story was on Tesla being kicked out of the ESG, which is the Environmental Social Council, and governance, but we can get into that next week. I think that'll be an interesting topic, something I'd like to go into a little bit more, but we can cover that next time around.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I did find that interesting too.
Yeah. And yeah, he's sort of railed against ESG in the past. So not that
Yeah.
this was a retaliatory measure, but interesting to follow. So all right, I'll let you talk about your business and we'll wrap it up.
Oh yeah. So bringing us out. So let me bring up my Let me bring up my webpage here. So I am Eric Buhrendorf, the CEO and lead consultant for EVERNET Consulting. We're an IT company that supports businesses across the country. We have some key verticals in legal, healthcare, accounting, manufacturing, and yeah, if you run or own a business that you need some IT support and consulting with, give me a call. Go to evernetco.com and schedule a discovery call with me personally. I'd like to hear about what you need.
All right. And EverNet TV is your YouTube channel where you're reviewing a lot of stuff. My
Yes.
YouTube channel, 401k and Beyond, that's the name of our Facebook group. So pushing out some content there as well. My name of the company is Northshire Consulting, which is an independent investment advisory firm. So we work mostly with small businesses, about 70% with small businesses, 30% with individuals and families on creating better retirement plans for themselves and their employees. What do you say? We'll do this again next week?
Yes. That was good. Sorry, my brain. I got static brain because I literally am I was putting out fires before we started recording. But you're watching Finance and Technology Insights with Brian and Eric. We're on YouTube. We're on your favorite podcast, and we're on Facebook. Follow the links below. And thanks for watching. Like the video if you haven't already, and make sure you give us a subscribe where relevant. See you next
All
week,
right.
Brian.
See ya.